I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, Velocities in Music, the best kept secret in music reviews. I know of very few artists as prolific as the one we are going to review today, which is White Denim. White Denim is a blues rock band, progressive blues rock band from Austin, Texas. They released their first album in 2008, and they're on their 6th album with the one we're going to review today, Corsicana Lemonde. 6 albums in 5 years.
It's crazy.
Woo! That is, they work hard.
What are they, CCR?
Yeah,
come on.
It must be. They work very, very hard. And honestly, that's something that I've always come to respect.
Yeah, me too.
With artists, is when they can produce a lot of albums that are of at least relatively good quality in a short period of time. There are so many bands out there right now that may make a record that's decent at best and then go on tour, take a year off, and then wait 4 years and release the next album.
Yeah.
Radiohead, Flaming Lips, Arcade Fire, all these albums. We'll get to Arcade Fire later. Just calm, slow your roll, brah. White Denim. Corsicana Lemonde. Tom, let's go into detail. Let's describe this sound. How do these guys approach music?
Well, right off the bat, you just get a taste of the style. And there's a lot of comparisons that you can draw up pretty quickly. Seeing as how it's in that kind of indie rock, blues, garage sound, it draws comparisons to White Stripes, Black Keys, Dr. Dog, Plants and Animals. Yeah. All those bands, any band that has white or black in the name.
It's probably blues rock, and that's really in vogue right now.
Yeah, exactly.
And one thing that these guys do that I noticed right away, especially the first track it comes on at Night in Dreams, it's just prog rock. Yeah. More so than any of the bands that you mentioned. While the sound definitely is similar to those, these guys are working a prog, almost kind of a live jam band kind of feel to it. Just with excessively fluid, fast, agile guitars.
That track reminded me a lot of Thin Lizzy.
Yeah,
it harkens back to a lot of even like classic rock and prog rock, especially when it gets to that guitar solo. The sound is just I'm like, did I just put on Boys Are Back in Town or something?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's funny because, I'm saying a lot of bands that I would compare this to stylistically, but I think these guys do a good job of making it their own.
Absolutely.
And the way that they do that is just, first off, with consistently good songwriting. I think that while this is, in general, kind of been done before, they just do it really well.
Yeah.
They come at it from kind of a unique perspective. They put in a lot of flair in the performance, and they really mix it up. Rather than the kind of like slow tempo grooves that, did I say temple? Slow tempo. I don't know. My brain is fried today.
My temples are very slow right now.
Yes, there you go. A lot of slow tempo grooves. Instead of that, they just have a lot of quick moving parts, especially in the guitar and drums. And then the vocalist does a great job of just really packing a lot of heartfelt emotion and punch and energy into those performances.
Yeah, and speaking of the vocalist, I think that he sounds remarkably like the vocalist, the name escapes me at the moment, from the Black Keys. It's a very similar voice, although White Denim, this guy actually is putting a lot into it. He has a good amount of energy, dynamic contrast that he adds to the sound of the track that he's singing on. I mean, it's just a brighter sound. It adds a lot of color to the mix. And it's something that I definitely got a lot of energy out of when I was listening to this. So much of prog music, you run into the issue whenever you have really complicated instrumentation that the vocals can actually get either washed out in the mix or take over and make it more difficult for the listener to experience.
It's a tough balance.
It is, and I think that these guys really work to find that balance. I never at this album do I feel like one is overpowering the other. I always feel like that balance is very, very well maintained. Now, one thing that I really like throughout this album is that this isn't just a guitar band. I was impressed with the vocals and the guitars, don't get me wrong, but the bass, a lot of the bass was really impressive on this album. A lot of times they give it a little bit of like fuzzy texture. A lot of times they even have some horn backings in this too. It's just a very interesting sound, and the more I listened to it, the more I realized how much I appreciated the vibe that they were going for. Now, I do want to get into some criticisms here.
Okay.
One criticism that I'm going to just lay out there is this. It's not the most original thing in the world, and while it is progressive, it's still quite structured. They don't go on a binge ever. This is, all of the track lengths here range from like 2.5 minutes to 4. There's a 5.5 minute track. They put these through a vetting process of structure, I would say, to make it accessible. These songs, I feel like you could take any one of these songs, listen to them on their own, and they're going to be just as strong as if you listen to them independently on the album. This album is 37, almost 38 minutes long, and it's a quick listen, and it's a very fluid listen too. So, you know, I just kind of wish that there was a monumental track that kind of brought the whole album together. And I don't feel like I got that.
And there's certainly room for it. They could have taken, I think, just about any of these songs, put in kind of an extended bridge, or you know, or even an ending on it. I mean, the longest track on the album, Cheer Up / Blues Ending, you know, kind of it shifts into a different segment of the song. I think they could have used that on another couple of tracks, or thrown something in the middle, gone back to what it was at the beginning. And, you know, in some ways that's a little bit of a cliche of the kind of jam band genre, but they're already straying far enough away from that I think they could have incorporated something like that, and the uniqueness of the rest of the album would have actually supported it pretty well.
Absolutely. And for what these guys set out to accomplish, I mean, they weren't trying to write this revolutionary album. They were just trying to write in this genre, within the umbrella of the blues, rock, prog genre, and make it their own. And they absolutely accomplished that. So for what they set out to do, for the scope that they laid out when writing Corsicana Lemonade, they absolutely nailed it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So, and really, can you expect them to do much more than that when they're writing so many albums so often?
Sure.
I mean, you know, different style, but, well, a little bit different style, but Dr. Dog is very similar. Dr. Dog puts out a lot of albums, you know, usually one per year and a half, and the style relatively stays the same album to album. The albums are never mind-blowing, but they're pretty consistently decent. And that's what I get from White Denim here in Corsicana Lemonade. I like this album. I'm going to go 78 on it.
I'm going 77.
Well, you just had to do that,
I'm the wiener today.
So it's going to round up to my score.
Yeah, your score is the only one that matters.
Well, really,
I should have just left.
In my opinion, that's always true, Tom.
Oh, really?
That's always true.
We'll see ya.
Yep, see ya. Well, in your opinion is what really matters. It's not what two guys behind a camera, you know, reviewing music for fun. It doesn't matter what we think. All we're trying to do is start a conversation with you guys to give us some ideas, opinions, and shed light on maybe some music that you haven't heard before. White Denim, Corsicana Lemonade, 78 from Velocities of Music is actually a very good score, even though in, you know, college you would think that's a C+. It's a very good score. It's above our bell curve and says that this album is solid, and we would recommend it if you're into this sort of thing. Please go out, listen to Corsicana Lemonade, and let us know what you thought at www.velocitiesofmusic.com or youtube.com/velocitiesofmusic. As always, follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook, and let us know what other albums you'd like to see us review on this channel. I'm Jake.
I'm Tom.
And we are VIMTV, moving music critique forward.
At night in dreams of